So I'm reading, actually it's on Glenn Beck's website, The Blaze, that Reid and John Boehner, you know, the left and the right, and the Democrat, the Republican, and all this nonsense, have been working and scheming together since early on with Obamacare to go ahead and get Obamacare passed as law, which they did. And they have emails. One of the guys, I can't remember if it was on Boehner's side or Harry Reid's side, one of his aides leaked the emails. And again, the emails were from John Boehner and Harry Reid scheming to pass health care with each other. You know, the left and the right, Dems and Repubs. And in it, they're coming to an agreement of how it's not going to affect them. You know, Congress, they don't want Congress to have this, you know, this be forced to go to a healthcare exchange like the damn peasants, you know, because they're, you know, these guys are high-class people. These aren't peasants. These are senators and congressmen, and I'm, you know, I made a career out of this. I'm someone special. I don't deserve nonsense peasant healthcare. But they're both trying to pass it for you and me. And the bottom line is they have been scheming to get it passed, and then back and forth about well, how are we going to, you know, one of them wants to not put it to where basically the Congress and their staff and whatnot have it, but everybody else does. So they're talking back and forth about that. How do we do this? What do you know? Emails have been leaked. Glenn Beck has them. I will link to the story below this video. And the sad thing is, and it's always been this way, unfortunately, and the only way this will change is through a revolution. I mean, there's no two ways about it. Is that once you vote somebody in office, take the president, for example, got 4 years. Matter of fact, possibly even 8 years. And then you take a congressman and whatever, a congressman, and it's 2 years. So these people, you're stuck with them for 2 years. And it's funny because I remember reading not too long ago about the situation in one of the Eurozone countries. I'm trying to think of which one in particular. Was it Hungary or one of the other ones? I don't remember. But they basically were getting violent. And maybe it could have been Greece too. But they were getting violent, about to overthrow the government. Matter of fact, you know what? I take that back. I think it was Egypt. I think it was Egypt where the people have overthrown the rebels now in Egypt, the ones that took over the Muslim Brotherhood. And one of the politicians I think he was on the news saying, hey, you know, it was either a politician or one of the bozo elite news mouthpieces, you know, on the news. But they were saying that, you know, oh, you need to let them, you know, this is not how democracy works. If you don't like what they've done, you just vote them out when it's time to vote again. You don't need to get violent. You don't need to overthrow people. Just vote them out. Can you imagine? You voted in some people that have a majority now in your Congress, your president, whatever, and they're psychopath rapists, which you may realize some of them are, but this is supposed to be fictional. They're psychopath rapists, and they've just passed laws to allow them to rape and pillage people, men, women, children, doesn't matter. And the police, of course, say, well, yeah, but, you know, it's the law. We have to enforce the law, so if they do this to you, can't do anything about it. It's the law. But, by the way, the law doesn't affect them. You can't do it to them. That's how they wrote the law. And you would say to the police officer, well, I'm a human. I have a right to live. I have a right not to be abused. And the policeman, or whoever you're talking to, tells you, vote them out next time. And you know what? You guys put up with it for 2 years. Unbelievable. And it's time to vote again. And somehow, the same people who have been raping and pillaging everybody or voted back in. 51-49%. Ah, maybe we'll get him next time. And the guy, the police officer, or the politician, or the news guy who said, hey, don't overthrow him, don't get violent, vote him out, is going to tell you, well, I guess your peers, the majority of your peers, just barely, 51-49, want them to stay. I guess they like getting raped and pillaged, right? But at that point, you're going to realize nobody likes that. There's no way voting actually matters. It's rigged. There's no other excuse. But that's an extreme thing that would be happening, that you would easily be able to figure that out, that there's no way voting works if we're voting a bunch of rapists in office. So, unfortunately, they're not at that level, and it's just a matter of still convincing people that the majority of other people wanted this person in place. Can you believe Reid? This guy's been in office forever. And you remember last election when he won again, they said that his son, his own son, had something to do with one of the voting, something to do with voting in his state. You know, I don't know if he was in charge of the count of the votes. I don't know. I don't remember now, but I do remember talking about it when it happened. And I saw Nancy Pelosi, all these people getting re-elected. I'm like, there's no way in hell. And sure enough, they made it. So, at the same time, the point of this is history shows us that there's violent revolutions. And the whole entire time, you would sit there and say, why would these people that were apparently peaceful, everything seemed okay at the time, why am I hearing about this in our history books, that this actually happened? And it doesn't matter what history. We have our own American history where we overthrew the government, 1776. Over in the UK, London, Britain, the whole area, there's notorious history on that. I mean, constantly. Other countries, it's the same thing. It's all cyclical. So that must mean that voting doesn't matter no matter where you go, and that people finally catch on, after it's way too late, of course, but by then things are so bad that it doesn't matter. People are willing to just do it and violently overthrow the government. That's what history shows us happens every single time. Therefore, this time is no different. And when you read stories like this about the Democrats, the left mafia boss and the right mafia boss, the Republicans, John Boehner and Reid, we oppose each other, we're not working any deals, it's going to be my way, this is what I want in the bill, I'm not budging, well, I'm not budging, well, I'm not going to budge, oh, there's really a fight. This is exactly what Jesse Ventura said. This is pro wrestling. This is fake pro wrestling. They pretend to be mad at each other, and then again, behind the scenes, they're out having drinks at the bar. Like after the show, after the WWE SmackDown, they're out at the bar hanging out, slapping each other 5. Good show, man. Yeah, you did a good job too, man. That was awesome. That move where you flipped me over my back, slammed me down, man, that was awesome. You did that perfectly. Yeah, man, thanks. That's how that goes. And as you just seen, what you're fixing to see when you see these emails from the Glenn Beck's website, you're going to see the same thing. This is basically fake pro wrestling. They're on the same side. And behind the scenes, exactly via email, where you and I don't normally get to see it, we only get to see them when in front of the cameras, when they're promising us everything we want. And trust me, you're a Democrat, I'm your Democrat guy, and I'm going to fight for you, these damn Republicans, I'll tell you what. And on the other side, the Republican, those damn Democrats, I'll tell you what, I'm for you guys, vote me in again. And then behind the scenes, they're working and colluding together to pass the same legislation, to figure out both sides, how do we not apply this to Congress, how do we make this work, okay? They come to an agreement, and voila, it's passed as law. We all are now stuck with this nonsense healthcare. And by the way, after reading that story on Facebook yesterday, I tried desperately to go to the healthcare exchange, healthcare.gov, government website, to sign in and do exactly what that guy, Will Sheehan, whatever his name was, I think it was Will Sheehan, what he said he did. I was trying to do the same exact thing, log in, create a password, and I sat there and waited and waited and waited at least a half hour. And it said, don't leave the page, it'll come up when it's ready, so I did, and it came up, finally. So I started filling in my information, and I got down to the drop-down boxes where it says, enter a secret security, question and answer, so that if you lose your password, you'll have the answer here. So I click on the drop-downs, and all 3 drop-downs are blank. Nothing shows up. So I tried to wait a little bit. Nothing changes. Same thing. Okay, so at that point, I said, let me just choose a blank drop down and just put an answer next to it, just so I can get past this. So I chose blank drop down, put an answer. Blank drop down, put an answer. Did the third one, okay, next. Password, next. Okay, create the account, next. And then all of a sudden, error comes up. Technical, whatever error, try again later. And there's a button that said try again. So I click try again. Brings me all the way back, of course, without the information still filled in like it should have. It's blank again, so I start over again. Same thing, try again. Brings me back again. Same thing, try again. So I can't even do it to verify if this guy Will Sheehan is full of crap or he really did get a $14,000 per year premium or whatever it was, copay or whatever, in $500 or whatever it was, $597, $497, something like that, monthly payment for healthcare. I could not get into the damn site to even try. And this is what's going to be behind the scenes running our healthcare system. I can only hope and pray that this is a real legitimate fight between some people in Congress who really do care and have realized they screwed us. It was an accident. They didn't read the healthcare bill. Now they're understanding it really is what we were saying it was. It's not good. And rather than admit, yeah, we were wrong, they're just going to understand they were wrong and try to fight it behind the scenes, and that this government shutdown is going to last for a while. However, as you already saw, the House has already offered to say, give us a year extension to match the business extension, so don't start Obamacare till 2015. They already agreed to that in the House. So all the Senate has to do is say, well, at least we'll get it. It's not going to get taken out. The funding's not going to get taken out. Obamacare will still exist. Okay, we'll back off and we'll finally agree. And it's going to be exactly what Lindsey Williams said, 2015, in advance, like always. Or are they really going to fight this and they're not going to give in? I say that they can't not give in because the House has already agreed. Just give us a year in addition. And that's going to buy the entire Congress voting season. And there are not going to be any problems because Obamacare won't be implemented. So people aren't going to see what these fees really cost and how bad it really is for them because it won't be implemented until 2015. But 2014, we got to vote again for Congress. So they'll get put back in power. Then they'll let Obamacare kick in 2015. Then all the problems will happen. And as I said earlier, you got to wait, vote them out. You don't like what they did, vote them out. You got 2 years. Don't throw them out. That's illegal. That'll get you in jail. I'll put you in jail. I'll put you in prison. Don't do that. Sit by and just let them destroy your life. Just take your home, put you in massive debt, put your children in massive debt. That's legal. They can do that. You, on the other hand, have to wait and vote them out and rely on electronic voting machines that have already been proven easily to be manipulated. They did it in multiple colleges and showed on the news, here's what my students and I did, the professor, here's what we did, here's the same chip that they stick into a little USB thing, stick it in, it turns it on voting mode, it's ready to go, it's live. I want everyone to vote and tell me, and I want you to vote. I don't know if he told them how to vote or just asked them, tell me what you're voting for, and just write it down. And it flips the vote 7-1. Automatically, but it printed out every time exactly who that person voted for. So they got a little printout that said, you voted for this schmuck. Okay, I'm satisfied. That's exactly who I voted for. They walk away. Next guy. You voted for the other schmuck. Okay, I'm happy that's who I voted for. At the very end, when it tallied everything, it showed 7-1, which was not even close to what it was. They proved this easily in a college class. The guy from Florida that was hired by a Florida either congressman or senator to do the same thing, who thought he was trying to do this for security purposes, to figure out how to do it and stop it. He was later told, no, we're going to keep this so we can use this. So he had a little testimony given in front of, I don't know if it was the Congress of the United States or the local politicians here in the state of Florida. I don't remember because it was a long time ago. Nonetheless, he admitted that this is what was happening, this is how it was done, it was easy. So, if that's the case, voting doesn't matter the only choice will be revolution, because they will have left us with no other choice. Therefore, I can now see, since I'm alive now, and I read history that was a long time ago, we're going to be reliving that same history. Because there's only one solution. There's only one exit door. The other exit door, which was voting, was closed off. Now there's revolution. That's the only thing that can happen. So all we can do is sit back and wait to see when it happens. Take care.